Do you wish to leave the 3D realm and enter 2D? Are you unsure of how to make that happen? Well, you've come to the right place, because in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Live2D, what it is, who uses it, how to commission it, and more. I'll cover the basics of what you should do before commissioning someone, all the way up until you receive your finished model. I'll include timestamps so you can skip to relevant parts of the video. Stick around until the end though for exclusive interview questions with 3 amazing artists. Without rambling on for too long, let's get right into it, because there's a lot to get into. Alright, so let's start with what Live2D is. It's software that allows you to animate 2D illustrations. It's used by members of Hololive, vShoujo, Nijisanji, and many others. Live2D is known for its very anime look and feel, and is the middle ground between static PNG tubing and 3D models. Small disclaimer, a lot of the differences between 3D models and Live2D models are subjective, and there is no right or wrong model to use. It all comes down to personal preference and budget. 3D models are in no way inferior to Live2D models or static PNGs. With that out of the way, let's move on to some helpful resources. If you want to create your own 2D model, Brian Sui on YouTube has some great resources. I'll leave some links to him in the description below so you can check him out. He's been doing Live2D for years and is pretty well known and reputable. You can also check out the Live2D Discord and Fab's Commissions and Art Guide, both of which will be linked in the description. Now, before you even think about commissioning an artist to make your model, you're going to need to design an original character. Ideally, you'll want to commission an artist to draw your character reference sheet based on a character you have in mind. This makes it a lot easier for your model artist to draw your character. I'll talk more about where you can commission artists later on in the video. This next part is important. Make sure your design is original. It is not okay to plagiarize existing designs. Drawing inspiration from existing designs is completely fine though, as long as your character is still original. Be sure to think about unique features that your character could have, and don't be afraid to be creative with it. The coolest designs are often the ones with a unique personal touch. Moving on to pricing, character sheets can range anywhere from $20 to $200+. It really depends on the artist's level of skill and where you find them, more on that later. Remember that in general, you're paying for an artist's unique style. Sometimes an artist will offer to draw in a different style for you, but this generally isn't the case. If you're wondering where to find artists to make a character sheet, you're in luck. There are plenty of ways to commission someone. The first way is if you follow any artists on Twitter and you like their art. You can try reaching out to them and seeing if they would be willing to design a character for you. If you don't have anyone specific in mind, the hashtag VTubers commissions tag is not a bad place to check. Another place is Fiverr, and you can find a variety of different styles and a wide range of prices on there. Be careful though, as this platform is not known for having the best refund policy, and there are a number of scammers to be on the lookout for. I'll talk more about red flags later on in the video. The last 2 platforms I'd like to mention are Pixiv and DeviantArt, as artists on here often take on commissions. Similar to Twitter, you can try reaching out to artists you like and ask if you can commission them. If you're having trouble finding someone on any of these platforms, you can also check out the VTuber resources and commission sheet that I'll link in the description below. Now that you have a character reference sheet, or at least some representation of your original character, you can start thinking about commissioning a Live2D artist. Model art has to be drawn and layered in a very specific way so that riggers can animate the various parts of the model correctly. This is one of the reasons why Live2D models are often expensive. You can expect to pay anywhere from $100 to $1,000+, and this doesn't include the cost of rigging. It's possible to commission an artist who's not experienced in drawing Live2D art, but they'll have to learn how to properly draw and layer it. This may lead to problems later down the line with your rigger that you'll eventually have to choose, unless the artist you choose can do both the art and the rigging. Sometimes a rigger will be able to fix a poorly cut model if they have a background in art, but you shouldn't rely on this. Before you start looking for an artist, you should plan out what kinds of animations and expressions you want your model to make. For more detailed explanation of what I mean by movements and expressions, check out Fab's Live2D Commissions Guide that's linked in the description. You'll also want to decide whether you want a full body or half body art. Half body art costs less, but is, well, only half a character body. You'll generally only be streaming with your bust up showing, but you'll have to make the choice as to whether or not you want a full body character. These are all things you should have planned out before you commission anyone, because artists will often charge you extra for all this stuff. You'll be able to calculate the cost of your model better if you know exactly what you want to pay for. When looking for a model artist, I highly recommend looking on Twitter first. If you can't find anyone on Twitter, then you can consider looking on Pixiv or DeviantArt. I don't really recommend Fiverr for this, because the quality of models you find on there is a bit of a coin flip, and also communication with your artist is very important, and you may not get the same level of communication on Fiverr as you would Twitter. This is a more expensive purchase than the character sheet, so it would really suck to get scammed out of a lot of money. As I mentioned before, there are some red flags you should look out for when you're trying to commission someone. If the artist or rigger you're looking at does not have a terms and conditions, that is a red flag. If you notice that they aren't really communicating with you, or that their communication is very vague, that is another red flag. If they have no examples of their previous work, like a portfolio or a website, this can be a red flag, but you should also ask to see their work through direct message before you dismiss them. If the quality of their work is inconsistent, or the styles don't match, that's another red flag. A major red flag is if they ask to be paid as friends and family through PayPal. It is very hard to get a refund if you pay through friends and family, so never do this if you're paying for a good or a service. Use the PayPal invoice system or PayPal.me, as these are secure payment methods that give you buyer protection. Once you find an artist, keep the following tips in mind to make sure the process goes smoothly. Number 1. Communicate with your artist. Make sure you give them detailed instructions on how you want your model to be made. Asking for progress updates isn't a bad idea either, and will keep you and your artist on the same page. A little bit of communication goes a long way in making sure the end result is exactly what you wanted. Number 2. Read the terms and conditions set by your artist and make sure that you're able to abide by them. It's always a good idea to be familiar with their refund policy, how they collect payment, what they will and will not draw, and their policy about revisions. Being aware of all of this at the start can help avoid confusion and miscommunication down the line. Number 3. Respect your artist's schedule. It's good to communicate, but don't be surprised if your artist takes longer than usual to respond. They have their own lives to manage and may not be able to respond immediately. After you get your finished model art in PSD format, you have a couple of options for rigging. Your first one is to commission your artist to do the rigging if they're able to. If they're not, then your other option is to look for a rigger. You can find riggers the same way you found your model artist. Make sure to look at a rigger's previous work and see if you like their rigging style. If it looks good, then it is good. Keep in mind that the quality of rigging does matter, and if you go with someone cheaper, you may not be satisfied with how your model moves, and it might look, off. Once you find your rigger, it's a good idea to put them in contact with your artist, as long as both of them are alright with that. This way, your rigger can communicate directly with your artist with any changes that may need to be made or questions they may have with the provided PSD file. After your rigger sends you the final files, well, there you go. You are now the owner of your very own Live2D model. The files should look something like this. You can import those files into VTube Studio to test out the movement and expressions and see if you like them. If you think anything feels off, feel free to contact your artist or rigger. I'm sure they'd be happy to help you out. Before I close off the video, I want to showcase a few artists who were kind enough to answer a few questions for me. I'll include all of their details in the description below so you can check them out. Our first artist is Suni, an application-based Live2D artist that focuses on creating high-quality models in the premium price range. Her models start at $1,000 and go up based on number of expressions and accessories you want. I asked her if there were things before or during the design process that she doesn't like her clients to do. She responded, "I don't like it when clients try to make me deviate from my own style. If a client wants me to draw in a certain style, I will tell them that I will only be drawing in my style." Our next artist is Dreamery, a freelance illustrator who draws her models with a very particular style in mind. Her models start at $250 and are honestly a steal if you like her style. I asked her how she feels about making minor adjustments during the design phase, and she responded, "It's alright, as long as they make up their minds after." There's a reason why I limit my revision slots up to 3. If I do unlimited revisions, it might just make me feel tired and burnt out. The last artist I'd like to feature is my very own Live2D artist, Rio. She has an adorable and clean art style that will run you anywhere from $350 to $500+, not including expressions and accessories. I asked her if there were any requests clients have made that she found annoying, bothersome, or unrealistic. She responded, "I don't find any requests from my clients annoying or bothersome so far. I haven't encountered one that is really unfair and quite annoying. It's all part of the process, and I'd like my clients to be satisfied on our projects." Well, that concludes the interview section. Definitely check out all 3 of these artists, and I'll have their links in the description below. If you found this video helpful in any way, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It would greatly help the channel and let me know that you guys enjoy this type of content. I don't have an outro, so bye.